Hey everyone, welcome to Pineapple Knits, a knitting and spinning videocast. I'm Marina, and you can find me everywhere on the web at Pineapple Yarn, especially Instagram, where I'm most active. You can visit my hand-dyed yarn and fiber company at pineappleyarn.com. Thanks so much for joining me this week. It's really great to be here chatting with you, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. This is a podcast mostly about knitting and spinning and yarn, as you can tell, but I'm really glad that you joined me today. It's been really cold here in coastal South Carolina. I think it may have snowed a little south of me last night, and it has been really cold. So I'm wearing one of my coziest, warmest shawls today. This is the Nightshift Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it is knit completely out of my handspun. I love this shawl so much. It's so bright and cheerful, and it is so warm. So a lot of times I don't wear it because it's so warm, but this was such a fun pattern to knit, and it used up so much of my handspun that I really didn't know what to do with, and so it was just such a fun knit. And I'm also drinking some of my blueberry tea that I was telling you about maybe last podcast or a couple podcasts ago. This is the blueberry superfruit tea from Stash. I will link it below. This is one of my favorite teas. It's become one of my favorites. I included this in my Advent 2019 calendar, and to be totally honest, I really included it because of the color of the envelope. So it matched my theme, but it has quickly become one of my favorites. It's fruity, it's really flavorful. I really like teas that are bold and not mild. I really like a bold flavor. So this fits the bill there, and yeah, so I'm drinking all the hot beverages today to try and keep warm. Luckily the sun is out and warming everything up, but it has been a cold day. So I wanted to share with you one of my half-finished objects this week. This is a sock that I knit on my circular sock machine, which is an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. And I have basically been going through the project manual that came with the sock machine and just working on some techniques and practicing. This was I can't remember what project number it was, but it's the mock rib. It was supposed to have a picot hem. I didn't do that. I just did the folded hem, which is technically called a hung hem. And then this mock rib is made by, or it's knit by removing the fourth stitch. I used the fourth stitch, I took the fourth needle out, and it makes this purl row or purl column, which is kind of interesting. And then I did make a mistake here. You can see all these like little eyelets before I started the stockinette stitch for the heel. That's not supposed to be there. That's okay. And then I just did the basic short row heel that you do on a sock machine, and then knit down into the toe. So this was a fun knit. I haven't made the other one yet because I wanted to work on the sizing, the technique, and just get it down. I guess not really have to rush through the project, so I could really take my time and take notes and figure out what works. All in all, I like this, but I did have a couple of reservations about it. First of all, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a little bit of problem with the tension and just the cylinder size itself. So when you're using a circular sock machine, you actually have a cylinder, a round cylinder with all of the needles in it. And basically this is what knits the tube. I have been using a 64 slot cylinder, which means that there are 64 needles on the cylinder, consequently making 64 stitches around. I think that this is too big for my foot and my leg. Normally when I hand knit socks, I will do 60 stitches on a size 0. But I'm going to get a close-up and show you exactly what I'm talking about. I thought that this mock rib maybe would make it so it would tighten up the stitches, but it hasn't at all. If you can see, I hope you can get a really good look. I think that these, just on the regular stockinette stitches, are actually tighter than these over here. And that's definitely not the direction I want to be going. So that is something I need to figure out. And like I mentioned up here, I'm pretty sure I just misread the directions how to avoid these eyelets, as basically as you're switching from the missing needle, you have to put the needles back in order to achieve just the stockinette. So that's that. Yeah, I also kind of messed up here. The only reason I'm saying this is because I'm looking at it and I'm making notes for myself when I make the next one. I should have put the needle back right here in this slot because it hit right at the corner of my sock, and that's going to be a point that is not going to wear very well. Okay, so all in all, I liked this technique. I'm going with the next sock, I'm going to try to tighten up the tension a little bit and see if I can get that tension a little tighter. I'll definitely wear these though. And oh, I should mention also the yarn that I used is like a deep stash pineapple yarn colorway. I just had an extra skein and I used it. Just kind of kept it for scrap yarn, like testing yarn. So I have quite a bit of sock yarn. I have sock yarn from this past Christmas. I have some really, really beautiful skeins from some very talented makers, and I just don't want to use it until I get the sock right. And I think once I get a recipe right that I love, I will be making a lot of socks. And yeah, so that's my half-finished object this week. And let me show you what else I've been working on. My next project that I've been working on is a pattern called Inside Story by Heidi Kirrmaier. She is also the pattern designer behind the Sunshine Coast sweater, which I knit several months ago. I knit in 2019. I love the fit of that sweater. And so I was looking for just a really good worsted weight sweater that was top down and not, I could just use with like a tonal yarn, not just a tonal yarn, but I didn't want any color work or anything too, too crazy. I wanted something a little mindless, because that's where I'm at right now in life. And let me show you where I'm at here. I am so close to being done with the body. This is where I'm at right now. And I actually only have 2 inches of rib to finish. So look at that. I cannot tell you how much I've been loving this knit so much. I'm so happy I started it. The sweater is going to be beautiful. I cannot wait to wear it, especially with all this cold weather we've been having. Oh my goodness, it's so great. So I did tell you the pattern, Inside Story. It will eventually have sleeves and it will have a turtleneck as well. So I decided to just go for the turtleneck. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna like it, but I think it will work really cute with this sweater. So the yarn is called Cook Pine. It is a yarn I dyed up, available from Pineapple Yarn. And this is the yarn itself. I love this yarn, and I know I've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, but I really can't tell you how much I love this yarn. It just has, the color itself is just a really, really beautiful blend of layers, and it has been so satisfying to knit with this, and just to see kind of the calculations and the ideas in my head come out exactly how I wanted it on yarn. This, the base that I dyed this on is called Original Worsted. It's a 100% superwash merino wool. Yeah, it's been an absolute dream to knit. I have knit on this every night since watching television, and I have really not had to pay attention to the pattern that much, which is a lot coming from me because I skip things in patterns all the time. But one thing I really liked about this pattern is the side motif here. I'm just going to go ahead and show you. It has this really neat rib and then stockinette here and then rib, and that comes from the raglan sleeves up on top. So this is the sleeve here, and then the increases are just made on either side of the ribs. So this is going to look really, really cool. And I hope I'm not giving too much of the pattern away when I say that I read ahead, surprisingly. What I didn't realize with this sweater is that I believe you're supposed to turn it inside out at some point and then maybe do the sleeves and whatnot, which is a little... I understand because you don't want to purl the whole time. So I just turned this inside out. Okay, this does look really awesome with the rib. Isn't that really neat? It stands out so much. But I'm pretty sure that some different ends that I've woven into this side. I don't know, I guess I just didn't look at the pattern really well. Yeah, so I need to decide whether I like it, the fabric like this, inside out, or a reverse stockinette, if you will, or just the regular stockinette. Still trying to decide. But all in all, it has been so much fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and this color is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I did have some of this in the shop, and it has sold out, and so hopefully I won't have any this coming update, but hopefully I'll have some in the next update. And of course I always have my sweater quantity custom dyeing listing available. So if you're interested in if you're interested in 3 or more skeins, then you can check that out and you can have any color you want. I also wanted to mention that I am using one needle size smaller than is called for in the pattern, which is very, very typical of how I knit. I'm a loose knitter, and so I always size down 1 needle size across the board, always 1 needle size. And I'm also knitting the second size, I believe, which is called S1. So that is that. And I do have a spinning project I wanted to show you. I have not spun for quite a while, and I think it is, well, I know it's because my spinning wheel has been broken. I have a Kromski Minstrel, and the treadles are attached with leather ties, and those ties break all the time, and I have fixed them quite a bit. So I was, trying to think of some different ways, something that it would serve the same purpose, and finally I was talking to my husband about it, and I just wasn't really thinking about it. My husband works with leather quite a bit, and so he has all kinds of leather, and he said, well, why don't I make you some leather ties, and I'll just make sure that they're really durable. And so he did. He cut the perfect thickness of leather, and I used them with my treadles. Why didn't I do this before? I mean, they are perfect, and they're very sturdy and thick, much, much, much more than like the leather ties or leather, I can't think of the word, leather laces that you would buy at like a craft store or something. These are perfect. So what did I do when I got my spinning wheel fixed was I broke right into my December Hedgehog Fibers Fiber Club. I'm pretty sure this is December. Can't remember if it's November or December now. but this is what it looks like. It's like a blush pink with all these crazy sparkles in it. Red and blue and green sparkles, and then obviously these super fun colors. So, and it's really soft. It is Surrey alpaca merino wool, 12.5% sparkle, which is so much. So yes, this is what I started, and I basically split it in half lengthwise, and then the half that I prepped, it will be a 2-ply. So the half I started prepping by dividing up into 4 little balls like this, because splitting it up this much helps me with consistency, but then I honestly think it is a faster way to spin too. So I don't like to have things languishing too much on my wheel, just because I think I have a short attention span. But here's what I have spun up so far. This is just one of the little strips of fiber I pulled off of the half. I think it's so beautiful, all those colors. It has been so much fun to spin, and hopefully I will get it done soon, because I really want to make something out of it. So yeah, so that's what I started working on my wheel. It's been way too long since I've knit, or since I've spun, and so it was really fun to pick this back up and get at it again. That's basically all the knitting and spinning content I have for you this week. I do want to let you know that I will be having a shop update this Friday, January 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I will have a variety of yarns on all bases, tonals and speckled, variegated colorways. I will have a project bag and yarn kits, and I will be adding some candles as well. I am going to try a different format this week, where I put my whole shop update with all the yarns and all of the goodies into a separate video. And I just thought I would try that, mostly because I want to limit the length of the videos I put up on my channel. And so if you want to check out what's in the update, I hope that you'll join me for the next video, which is my shop update video. But until next time, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!